news.
Don't worry about me. Don't worry.
I was rushing to you with a little powder thing on their nose. Do you see the glare?
Can't see it. Right, okay, well, welcome everyone. So today's meeting at 6, probably 32-ish, on Wednesday, the 25th of March. So, on to agenda item, number 1, apologies and reasons for absence.
We've got Councillor Chris Clark, who's got commitment tonight, and Councillor Andrew Ardmore, who's also got a commitment.
Okay. So do I have anyone proposing that we accept those apologies? Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Seconded by, Councillor, Harris, thank you. And all those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Item number 2, declarations of members' interest in application for dispensation. Is anyone today? No. Splendid. We've not got any members of the public today, but I'll ask anyway. Deputations? No. So, on to item 4, the minutes. Does anyone have any suggestions regarding the minutes from the 11th of March 26? Councillor? Thank you.
Happily
Sorry.
Which
I'm going to switch on, yeah. Sorry,
Can
go
I
ahead.
confirm, without going through everything again, that the clerk amended your copy with the things that I pointed out the other day?
Yes.
And do you have an exempt minute to sign as well, which actually names the bank signatory? So there's no good just having a minute saying, we named the bank signatory. We used to have a system of an exempt minute attached to the thing. So can you confirm that as well, please? Otherwise, we don't have any audit trail of who we voted for.
At the moment, I would say we don't, for obvious reasons, security reasons at the moment, we have to check, which is illegal. We don't do that at the moment, but I'll investigate and take advice on whether we can do that. Because obviously any signatories and any names of people's signatories and any records of the office at the moment are concerned. So we're trying to keep them as
But we need a record of the signatories, otherwise the auditor will ask the question when they come in.
I can give you the list.
I know, but if you're not here,
And
and you'll also ask, where's the minute? The bank might ask for the minute. Sorry if I go on. But the bank might ask for the minute, and you should be saying that it's exempt minute 100 and whatever of this
I
day.
can't tell you.
Well, you would show the bank.
No, I can't, because it's got other bank signatories. I've got 4 banks at the moment.
Will you take an extra? Sorry, I won't argue, Cameron. I won't argue, but really, it's not satisfactory.
As you know, the one thing that's happened in the past, and is on the record, is that signatories, especially when there are signatures, are very dangerous. And I try to make it, any information about signatories, I try and keep as exempt as I possibly can, given that their names have appeared on the checks in the past for their signature.
So I'll suggest a solution to this is that we have a document for each bank account, listing the signatories for said bank account, that we can share with the auditor and that we can share with the specific bank when upon request. Do we need to vote that through, or does that just seem sensible? Oh, why not?
I didn't get it.
That's my proposal anyway.
Seconded.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ainsley. All those in favour? Wonderful. So that can be noted, and do you want that clarified?
No, I know what you're talking, media, which is documents which will be as exempt as they possibly can.
Yep, that are exempt unless requested by the specific.
Yeah, I'll keep them safe.
Marvellous. Okay, lovely. So that's the minutes then, wasn't it? Any council reports and questions? Yes, go ahead, councillor.
Over the last 24, 48 hours, I've asked a number of questions of colleagues around this table to do with sort of protocol and to do with public relations of Oakham Town Council. council. And the vast majority of people, when they discover they become a councillor, the first question is why, which is very disappointing. I come from a background in large PLCs where not so much publicity, but good quality PR is very important. And I would like to volunteer to help with that through whichever channel. Now, I did ask the clerk how, because we don't have any other business, how one actually gets anything on to the agenda to discuss that's not within these very strict formats or these very strict lines. So I'm hoping I'm interjecting at the right time. And I'd like to volunteer to help with Facebook, Instagram, and all these other various things to get a presence to the residents of Oakham to turn their opinions into positives. Because I don't see much of that at the moment.
Councillor Ainsley, really.
Just wanted to say that promotions working group is already in action, which we have 2 members, it's Councillor Sally Ann Wadsworth and Councillor Nick, so you might want to,
Didn't know such a thing existed.
you might want to put your name forward for that.
So, but I didn't know such a thing existed.
It does, well, it does exist on the web.
Yes.
Can't remember when it's last night.
No, I can't. Go
I
ahead,
thought
Councillor.
Jonathan was on it. Thanks, events.
Christmas.
Okay.
Councillor Brooks.
Can I just, through you, tell the councillor that when it comes to the social media and PR things, that is an annual review. I won't go into the reasons, but both myself and Sally Ann were appointed at the last meeting after the annual meeting, and it is annually reviewed, so that if you were interested, that would be the time when you can put your name forward to work on that project. And if I can help, the only way that the council can discuss things at meetings is by a paper which you have to get to the clerk. I think it's
To ask a
7
simple
days.
question.
Yeah, unless you want to ask about the workings, there's councillors' questions on the thing there.
That's what I
But-
thought.
Yeah, but they have to be about the workings of the council, not about individuals, but about the workings of the council. But if you want more discussion, then you can prepare a basic paper that just says, I want to discuss this, and leave the proposal open for the councillors to decide. So that's the only way that we can do it. I think you have to give 7 days notice.
Something else which came up was, and I sent it today or yesterday, was about my council tax bill. And how come we asked for 1% and the outgoing precinct crime commission gets 5%? How do I get that debated here and discussed here? How do we get more than 1%, for example?
Join the finance committee.
Well, so essentially the reasoning behind our precept request to RCC was that the budget was put together by the finance committee that was then raised, if you recall, at full council. We then voted it through as acceptable, and that's what then was handed to RCC as essentially our requisition for this financial year. So essentially that's the manner by which we put together a draft budget with the finance team, put it past full council, and then hand that on to RCC.
It seems like you are on the finance committee, according to the website.
Yeah, when it was re-established, I think you put your name forward. I don't think it's amended.
Yes, you are on, so
Yeah, John, you are. Sorry, Councillor Harris, you are. You did put your name forward.
News to me.
You did put your name
you
forward.
did put your name.
Wasn't John, wasn't he absent? And we put his name forward in his absence.
I think he was a member of the working
I'm sure we didn't.
I think, if I remember correctly, we had a working group,
Yeah,
and that working group was morphed into a finance working group, and I think you were part of the working group for the finance. That's how you got there.
You're on.
I'll catch on.
But the best time to do all of this, John, is, as Councillor Brooks has said, when it comes to the new mayor or renewing of the mayor, that's the time when all the committees are looked at and reviewed. And that's when they're debated whether they're doing a good job or how they should be structured.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's coming up shortly, although
It's
Next
a
meeting.
formal review.
yes, everything is put before the council. I get all the committees together, everything. Whoever the chair is at that time, he then puts, this is what we're thinking of doing, because obviously the new chair will have ideas,
Yeah.
and then we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
That's remarkably presumptuous, Clark.
Hmm?
You chair. That's a
I did say also the existing.
Any further council queries? Why not?
I'm going to invite Councillor Nichols to speak briefly about the UK TOP progress.
Yes,
So,
of course.
Chairman.
Very briefly, if you like.
Or as short or as brief as you wish.
Just to say, we are in the final stages of putting together the expression of interest. I think we've got a good case centred around the culture and history and heritage in Oakham, which is unique, very long-lasting, and the needs of Oakham, being a compact town with very few public dedicated spaces for rehearsals and performances, things like that. We have ideas for rejuvenating the public realm to support festivals in 2028 on various different themes. We've engaged with the residents through questionnaire, through mail drop, which will be happening very soon. We've been in stalls in town, met with lots of residents who are almost unanimous in favour of the bid, and we'll be submitting it this week, and then we will get the £3 million when we win.
Yes, speaking positivity over
I'll
it.
put that on record for you. I'm sorry.
Splendid, thank you very much. So any other commentary at the moment? Okay, item 6, Chairman's report. Well, for me, it's just to say thank you, to really reach out and say thank you so much to everyone that's working so hard on the Town of Culture package, and likewise for the Victoria Hall machinations also. I think it's something that is, as you've alluded to, a really positive step in the eyes of the public. So, and we all know that we, as a town council, need that and the backing of our residents. So, thank you all very much for that. Go ahead, Clark, your report.
Thank you. Right, let's get through this fairly quickly. The tree maintenance work now by Simpsons has now been completed. There are one or two issues, mainly that's close, which we put a 5-day planning notice in for a tree that fell down with the winds just recently in that's close and needs, according to Stuart, it needs removing. So that's been put in, that will be hopefully fulfilled by the end of the week so we can get someone to deal with it. For those of you who are very observant, you'll see overnight that a tree in Centenary Field, massive tree in Centenary Field, a limb of it, massive limb, was fallen overnight. No one knows exactly when. I would have thought if I was in bed in the house nearby, I'd know about it. This is a massive, massive limb, about, I would say, about a foot in diameter. So it's at least a foot, if not 2 foot, it's probably 2 foot in diameter. And luckily, it came down as though it was designed to miss everything. So it missed the fence, it missed the houses, it missed anybody. So it's safely down. It doesn't look rotten. I had a look with the handyman this morning. It doesn't look rotten. I have no idea where it's come down. I've already got on with Simpsons, but obviously there's lots of work going on at the moment because the wind has been interesting, makes it challenging. Right, on from that, Princess Avenue, the play area revamp is underway. It started this week, so hopefully it'll be finished in a week or two. Obviously that depends on the weather. The unauthorised entry is still an ongoing police investigation, so that is not closed. We're still doing work on We've also begun a reorganisation of the office functionality. Me and Melanie have started primarily on the accounts, but also on the purchase order invoices and contracts to make them as digital as possible now. Too much paperwork going on with duplication, and we need to make a system that's as digital as it can be. And we're indexing everything and making certain if you ask me a question, it can get answered, hopefully, as quickly as possible. So that's ongoing. Willowbrook Lights, which has been an ongoing issue because parts were not correctly supplied, but they've now been fixed. So that's done. We've had a visit this week to the tennis club. Was it this week or last week? I need to say last week to the tennis club just to talk about their plans for the future and also talk about the feeling of this council towards the issues with the building. And also I've visited Princess Avenue Studio, which is on the agenda, so I won't say anything more about that until we go into it. I have started the Silver training, so that's started. The ongoing things that are also in training at the moment, the church wall, which is getting through faculty, is a lot of hoops. Printer contract is up for renewal. We're looking at getting 3 quotes for the printer renewal. Also the PHS contract, which is
What's that?
printer.
The printer, the printer, photocopy thing.
Yes, the printer office is up for review. It's with Ability at the moment. We're getting 3 new quotes because it's getting fairly old. 5-year contract and it's showing the age, especially when I get older. And the other thing is obviously the PHS contract, and some of us will know only too well about that. I've made it clear that we're going out to seek another firm. In fact, another firm's turning up tomorrow, I believe, to have a word with us. And I think that will do for now. Thank you.
Marvellous, thank you.
Any questions you can ask if you want. Come on, David. Right.
Thank you very much for that, Clark. For that,
Oh, could I just say one thing at this point, just as a matter of fact, you all have got a new version of the actual register. Thanks to Councillor Wadsworth, there were some issues which weren't with the actual finances, but were with the leases and their terms. So they've been revised, so you've got a revised document. Thank you.
Oh, Councillor Wilson, query.
Can I just ask how we're progressing with planning permission for the Memorial Institute issue? Because I did ask, you answered my other question.
No problem at all.
And also, can I just say how disappointing, and this doesn't reflect on you because this tree in Cuts Close has a preservation order on it and was storm damaged. But as some might know, over the years I kept sending pictures to the council saying, please remove the ivy, and the council did nothing. And this is even before the Clark's time. So if we cared for the tree, as the county council thought we would have done, we wouldn't be thinking of spending an extortionate amount of money, which it will be, to fell that huge monster.
We'll get a quote on that, obviously, Councillor Brooks, thank you for that. Obviously, what we do, and it's a process we've done for many years now, is we rely on Stuart Kidd, who's the tree arborist for RCC, who gives us recommendations which are followed by the contractor. And obviously, basically, especially in Cuts Close, as I'm sure Councillor Brooks knows, we're in a conservation area, so we have to be very careful, you know, how much we do to a tree is observed very closely by English Heritage, etc., Historic England and all the rest. We have to be careful what we do and how much we remove. But we will review this obviously, especially given what's happened today. We need to understand that I've already contacted Stuart Kidd and said, can you please explain why this wasn't noticed in your review? But that's for him to answer, not me.
Sorry, can we also
Oh, the Memorial Institute.
so we also
Memorial
remove the ivy from the other trees so they don't get
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. The Memorial Institute, you also, sorry, Councillor Brooks, you asked about, I put in for a planning permission, so that's been authorised and sent, and I've told the president that we're doing at the Memorial Institute, we also got our electrician to look at it to give a definitive decision on this matter. We were absolutely correct, and the electrician has confirmed that the socket above, the box above the one we've installed, as a hole going straight through to the Citizen Voice Bureau, and the energy from that one was being tapped, as we thought, from the building, which is the reason we have then put a new one in below it to tap from the unmetered supply, which is what we should be doing. So I've made them quite clear that what we did was correct, and the other electrician said he absolutely sent me pictures showing that what socket above was effectively illegal because it was drawing off power. When we were using our electric lights, Christmas lights, we were actually taking it from the citizen advice building. So that's been rectified, but they have a problem with that rectification, which we will have to address for our plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 10, isn't it? So to consider the renewal of the Zurich
We do
insurance.
not have any correspondence received.
Oh, sorry, apologies.
All right.
Um,
No.
Thank you. Any correspondence received, Mark?
Well, there was is, but nothing that we need to bring to this council, because it's only a week ago since the last one.
Thank you. Apologies, right, so the item number 10, the insurance. Any queries, questions, or other observations? Go ahead.
Well, you're the only one, so.
You know what, I'll take a turn first, how about that? Just want to ask the office, since it's just not, it's not explicitly stated on this cover sheet, level of cover presumably remains the same?
Yeah.
And how does this fare up against last year's quote?
About inflation, it's sort of not hugely increased.
So we're looking at roughly in line
Yeah.
with inflation and equivalent cover?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think it's probably proper for me to raise it in the meeting. Or I'll do the first bit, but I'm concerned again that we don't have more than one quote. There are other insurance companies who give quotes. We used to have more than one quote and a recommendation from the office. I know you don't like to lie about the past, but we are required to get quotes for things. And the other thing, when I studied through it, I found that when we have our events, we are supposed to have a child and vulnerable adult policy, or we won't be covered. Now, Melanie very kindly told me at our events, we will have child looking after and first aid, but if we have an incident, the first thing the loss adjusters would ask for is, where's your policy? And if we don't have it, which I tried to get put in our lettings policy, which was just pushed away, we shouldn't really be having events because we're not covered. So I would hope that, I don't want to push it to Melanie, but I would hope the office, I use the office term, at the next available meeting can bring a policy. There are lots of examples out there where we can work from for child protection. That's how I got my thing, you know, that you have to have the delegated people, the mobile phone, and, you know, they have to be vetted, and, you know, just general things. Sorry if I go on, but I think it's, you know, I was always told we're covered for everything. But actually, when you look at, I'm not listing other things, but when you look at the very fine detail, we're not covered at the moment. And we've got time before June, before our event, so
Thank you, Councillor Brooks.
I would hope that we could do it, and I don't understand why we haven't got more than one quote.
Go on.
Yeah, I'll take the first part of your question, and then Melanie will take the bit on the events, obviously. The first bit, you say, why aren't we going for multiple tenders? Very difficult, given the situation we are with our insurance policy. We have 3 ongoing claims that we have been trained, and I can assure you, having contacted another insurance company for obvious reasons, they're very reluctant to even consider taking on something on when we've got that number of complaints sitting on the books at the moment. And if you had a similar situation, I'm sure you'd find it very hard to get claims because they don't know if it's going to cost in the insurance policy. So that's the reason we have to stick with Zurich at the moment, because it would be so complex to go through the negotiations of telling them about the claims that we have. And for obvious reasons, I'm not going to in public to say what these claims are, but we've got 3 claims with Zurich Insurance, and one of them in particular could be a significant sum of money.
Why are we not aware of these claims as a body?
You are.
Well, I'm only aware of possibly 2, which I won't think, but I'm not aware of 3.
Yes, you are.
No. And we've not sat here in the meeting being told that you've notified 3 times. We sat on the property near Princess Avenue and an employment thing, that's all I know, but I don't know the third one, and I don't want you to say it, because obviously.
Yeah, perhaps then we'll look at that, but yes, if we.
But my findings of it is that there is no reason why an existing claims, as it is now, would have any effect on us getting quotes. Yes, you have to tell them that you've made a claim, or, well, in fact, I don't believe that our employment one has made a claim yet, because I read that they can only
Stop there, please. Please.
make a claim if
Please,
ACAS
do not
is
go-
involved.
Councillor Brooks, do not go that direction further.
Okay.
Okay,
I appreciate, so let's just take it as read then, that we do or may have 3 concurrent claims. I can understand why that would be impactful in the quotation process.
I'm sorry, I can't, because if there are 3 potential claims in train at the moment, Zurich know about them.
Yes, please.
So if you go to the city insurance company, they will know, you tell them, so you come clean to them about what's going on here. So you're comparing like with like. You cannot possibly go to numbers 2 and number 3 and not tell them about things that are in train, quite right. But Zurich's quote for the coming year will, it's like your no claims on your car, isn't it? They will say you've had 3 claims this year, so here's your premiums gone up. So you would be comparing like with like.
That would involve us giving them details of the claim. It's very, very, obviously, as you know, in confidence.
Mine, you would give minor details, and if they wanted further, they would contact Zurich.
Right, okay, at this point then, so at this point, I'll make a proposal, whether anyone supports that or not. I'll see if it stands or falls. I'm going to propose.
Hold on a second.
One point that needs to be, we will be out of insurance on first.
If we do not pass it today, we will not have insurance on the first one.
So this frustrates me, that how everything is left, Chairman, until the last minute.
Okay, so there's not even time for an extraordinary between now and then. Okay,
I have approached another company and they said it would take a month to get a quote.
Sorry, I'm getting on, but why is it left so long? We know they're coming up, so it should be dealt with.
yeah, agree.
Sorry, I'm.
No. Right, so essentially it's Hobson's choice at this present time then. But I think if I might offer an amendment to the proposal as written, is that for the next renewal date, this paper is brought to the council at least 3 months in advance.
Yep.
So I'll make that proposal. Do I say? Councillor Brooks, thank you.
That's for the amendment only.
Okay, very good. All those in favour of the amendment? Okay. Thank you very much. On to then the proposal as writ. So council approves the Zurich insurance policy for this financial year. Do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Ainsley, seconder. Thank you, Councillor Harris. All those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Councillor Brooks, would like that recorded. Okay, so that was, any abstentions, sorry, I think it was everyone. That has carried, thank you. Okay, item number 11, so to consider payments over 5k. We have just the one for the previously agreed Zurich insurance at and £4.38. Do I have a proposer? Then Councillor Ainsley, seconder. Oh,
Councillor Nichols.
thank you, Councillor Nichols. My brain's gone dead. All those in favour of that? Against? Recorded or otherwise, Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, I would on that because that's a financial matter, please, that we don't have more than one vote.
Certain record that Councillor Brooks has voted against that one. Oh, there you go, fair enough. Okay, so that has no abstentions, that's carried. Item number 12, internal audit to improve the choice of the named internal auditor, Stuart Donald. Any further comment on that, Mr. Clark, or are you happy?
It's about the named person, obviously, we're now making an appointment this evening.
Councillor Harris?
Cost, competitors, are we
It's
getting
a right approval, which is what you, it's competitive, yeah, of course.
How do we know?
You can obviously go outside of LRAC, but
No, if I want car breakdown, I want to go to the RAC, I'll get 3 or 4 quotes just because it's the RAC, it doesn't mean that's the best price.
okay,
And I've no idea whether this is £100 or £500 or.
it's about, something like that. I could look it up, but it's about, we passed the amount and the LRAC approved in the last meeting or the meeting before, so that was already agreed by the council. So then I have to go to LRAC. I agree with what you're saying, that this isn't the appropriate stage because we're already agreed to go to LRAC. The only thing that was a problem was the name wasn't on the paper. So if you'd asked that question in the previous time and said, should we go competitive? That's a valid question. And I would say almost certainly you won't get much cheaper. And the trouble is, it's rather like an MOT test. You don't know what you're getting. We do know what we're getting with Stuart Donald because he did our last survey.
From the corporate world, to add a bit of context for you, John, this is, I suppose, akin to the standards boards. So you have a choice, but you will ultimately have a choice of a very small, very specific group.
Communism.
That's very sweet. Councillor Crooks.
Yeah, I'm not happy with this again, because it sort of brings on what happened last year. The clerk was absent and a member of this council appointed this man without council consent. It's simple as that.
We're not talking about last year.
It's relevant because when you told me about this person, you said to me, you're not going to like it. And I don't like it because we are supposed to have at least 2 quotes in front of us. The cheapest doesn't mean the best. Last year's audit was not satisfactory. You can look at it. He said he came here, the chairman was absent, the finance committee chairman was absent, and all he did was look at the paperwork that was left on the table for him. That is not an internal audit. As a council, we should have the list of the LRAC auditors, if that's what we were going to use, because there is more than one. There are different scales for auditing, because we used to get audits where they would look at our minutes. We didn't even do that last year, because it's in the reports from previous years that we haven't minuted things properly. We haven't done our agendas properly. So at one time we did do auditing properly, but we are not doing it properly since last year. And I want to know why we're just appointing the man who did the bare minimum, which is in his report. It's not me discrediting him, which people say that I would be doing. I'm simply stating the facts which are available online, that he came in and just looked at what was presented. That's not an audit.
Well, Councillor Brooks, was it signed off?
He signed it,
Then it
but
was a
he said,
satisfactory audit, was it not?
No, he said it was not satisfactory, but a member of the council said it was wonderful, so we had a problem.
But he signed it off as completed.
Yeah, but with
So,
the comment,
not yet, but it
with
was,
all the
it was done.
comments saying it wasn't
fine.
adequate.
Is it yes or no? It was done.
But we should be able, as a council, to decide what we want auditing. I've read it. This is why we
Okay,
get the
okay,
different levels of LRAC auditors. Some will charge you £600. Some will charge you £1,000 because they will actually do a more in-depth picking. They're not going to sit there and go through
That's
everything.
fine, councillor Brooks, but at the moment we've already moved past that, we're now looking at naming the individual. So,
Yeah, we're
Just
done.
Councillor
We're
Ainsley.
done.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, the point I want to make is that actually we've already decided that we're going to go ahead, we've already approved the expenditure. This is simply notifying council, as I understand it, please correct me if I'm wrong, that this is notifying council that we are using the LWAC auditor and that he's named as Stuart.
But we never approved the amounts.
I'm pretty certain we did approve it at the previous meeting.
okay,
So
so
correct me if I'm wrong.
we have the proposal.
Could I just make a statement, because I need to make a statement. I spoke to you on the phone, Councillor Brooks, and I said, agenda item 12, are you happy with it? Is it okay? Do you approve of it? And you said, and I know this, yes, it's fine. And you said that on the phone to me. That's what I don't accept, Councillor Brooks, you did.
The
You
last
said
thing we
those words
discussed
to
was
me.
at my front door
Okay.
when you said I wouldn't like
I'm
the
going
first
to stop that there.
Anyway, we mustn't argue in public like that.
Well, I'm afraid I do. When you say that to me, and then you come in the meeting and give a completely different version.
Okay, thank you.
I may have confused the number
Gents,
because the numbers
gents,
are wrong on
gents.
the agendas lately as well.
Well, this one wasn't.
It is online,
Oh,
unless it's.
Anyway,
been changed.
let's, if we're going to split hairs about it.
so number 12 is still the internal audit, I can confirm that I'm looking at it now.
Thank you.
So would you like to apologise for that piece of misinformation, councillor?
No, because I don't believe I agreed with it. I don't believe I did. And my last memory is when the clerk delivered this to me and said, you will not like who we're appointing.
Okay.
And I stick by that. In fact, I could get the CCTV audio from my home.
I'm sure you could.
Right, anyway, so we've got the proposal. Would anyone like to propose that then? That we accept? Thank you very much. That's
I just want things done properly.
Thank you very much, councillor Ainsley. Seconder. Councillor Harris was just off the mark quickly. All those in favour? There we are. Against? Recorded or otherwise, councillor Brooks.
Recorded, please. We don't even know what level of
Okay.
audit he's
That
doing.
has carried, thank you.
This is an interim audit.
No, this is the end of year audit. You see, that's why I think the confusion.
Okay,
is
we're
we
going on to
We
item
did
number.
approve
Councillor
a
Brooks.
financial
Councillor Brooks,
amount
that
for
item.
interim
Councillor
audit.
Brooks, that item has gone through.
Yeah, sorry, Cameron, but
Thank you. I
I
appreciate
think
it.
there was confusion.
Item number 13, and the asset register for 2026. Clark, do you want to say a few words on that?
Obviously, I've put this out, the main thing about the asset register, obviously, is significant, especially at this time of the year, is the actual value of the assets we have for us. It was pointed out to me there are some lease dates that were wrong. I've corrected those, and in front of you, there's an updated version of the asset register and the accounts. So I've had feedback from Councillor Ainsley and feedback from Councillor Wadsworth, yes, two desktop PCs. So those have been addressed, and now I've looked through it again. I wouldn't say it's perfect, if you've got any issues with it, fine. But now, the one thing that has been changed since last year, I need to point out to you, which is obviously the statute. I find this a tricky one, but it's been confirmed to me now twice. The Green statue is now worth on our asset register £1. Now, obviously, to zero insurance, I cannot put in a pound claim because that would be ridiculous. And this is why you have to be careful with these situations. The reason is it's gift aided. And if we look at Arnold Baker, they make it very clear, once it's gift aided, we cannot then suddenly have a £250,000 statue on our books, as that's what it's worth. We can't do that in the asset register. In my Silka training, I actually asked the person who was running it, is this correct? And she said, absolutely. Can you explain to me why we do this? No. So
Well, I would suggest that because we aren't going to sell it, it's not actually worth anything as an asset. However, if we were to declare this as a liability, which it actually is, then that would be a considerably higher amount.
Wordsmith melted it down, didn't
I think that might be a bit conspicuous. I just-
I can't park my car for all these visitors he's bringing to our.
Councillor Ainsley was first and then we'll have Councillor Harris, thank you.
Hang on, I understand this was gifted to us by RCC, if my memory serves me
Yes.
correctly. So was there a value when it was gifted?
No.
Okay.
We found the value from obviously the person who collected all the
No, but it was gifted to us. They didn't, they gifted us a quid.
It's a gift aid.
Fine, thank you.
Councillor Harris?
As a new board still, I find it helpful to know what we valued these at last year and what depreciation percentage is, or how long it will
We
be.
have to,
Because to me, that's just a bunch of numbers.
So my forming query in that sort of vein was, are we applying a level of depreciation to the assets that acquire it, and is there any appreciation or revaluations on?
each one of them is looked at, it's obviously, as you can imagine, I'll give you an example, second-hand PCs, and you value, it's all, and how much is a tennis club worth? It's,
But it also will help forward planning. For example, if the street furniture, which is now £3,500, is depreciated at £700 a year, in 6 years' time, we're going to buy some more, and then we might have a debate, do we buy some now and each of the next 3 or 4 years, rather than have one big bill. So I appreciate if we just to drop a column in which says what the depreciation rate is, perhaps.
obviously, the depreciation rate is varying once again.
Obviously, yes, right.
For each individual item, yes, it will be.
You must have that, Chris, otherwise you couldn't come up with these numbers.
You come up with the numbers, and most commonly, I'll tell you that the depreciation is updated on the inflation. So a piece of street furniture, for instance, I'll tell you, worth £1,000, goes down, say, 5-10% a year, but inflation is taking it up. So the street furniture costs more every year at the moment in this country, and anybody who's trying to buy anything will tell you that's the case. So it's, you're doing two things, because if the
This
street
is asset
furniture,
value. This is asset value,
yeah,
not
but-
replacement costs.
but if we
One will
lose,
lead us to the second.
if we lose the street furniture, we have to replace it.
Yes, I understand that. What I'm saying is, this is, in my experience, a two-step thing. This is the current value depreciated to what then?
Yeah, but the second hand value goes up too, for obvious reasons.
And then you will be depreciating it next year and over the coming years until it reaches zero.
Yeah,
If
But
it's
some will
not.
reach it.
But the replacement cost is a separate matter.
Yes and no.
Any other further queries, questions, or do you want to?
I know I've had a question, because I was another supplementary about the Queen's statue.
Yes, go ahead.
So I'm mildly confused. In that I'm happy to accept that for whatever reason we value it at £1. But how does that work with if we insure it? Because if somebody were to go and graffiti it or God forbid damage it in any way, how does that work with our insurers, which is Zurich?
Presumably, we would insure it for an actual value,
We-
whereas it's
yeah.
sale.
Do we
value.
have a value for?
Yes, we have, put a value of it, you know, obviously means it was put together of 250K.
£250,000.
Yeah, £250,000, and that is the asset value that Zurich has.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, I understand, and that's why I was so confused when I realised that.
Well, thank you for that clarification.
Right.
Councillor Brooks?
I don't know if this is a mistake, but it says asset register ties in with insurance policy from the 1st of April 2025. Is that just not?
That's, this, in other words, the asset register ties in with what we've got with Zurich at the moment, because obviously they need to know the assets and what they're worth.
So did they base their quote on this, as it says insurance?
No, because obviously this will be for next year, not this year. We can't get the asset register in time for this.
I understand the thing about the Queen's statue, and it is insured, and it doesn't cost us any extra on the policy.
I didn't say that.
Sorry?
I didn't say
No,
that.
but it was part of the conditions, we
Yeah.
took it on, it wouldn't cost us anything, so it is. But one of the issues I had when I was looking through things was that I couldn't work out whether the bandstand, because we never claimed for insurance in ourselves when we've had serious vandalism on there where cast irons had to be reconstructed. I can only work out that the bandstand through the insurance company is being considered as street furniture. And then the clauses state that this is like street lighting and that, and the only way we can claim for any damage if it's hit by a moving vehicle. So that's an issue to me that if there's, I don't really understand that it's been done in a way that the insurance company understands what we've got. That's why I asked, have they seen this? And it's very confusing. I'm a bit like Councillor Ainsley of it. I'm a bit confused at how we get to those situations. And you said they've not seen the asset register.
Obviously, there is no significant changes in the asset register from this year to last year, as far as the assets are concerned. Obviously, the Queen Victoria thing, Queen statue is a change, but that's because of the price we've taken. But the rest of the asset adds up to a similar total in terms of claims. Because obviously, they have given us a quote based on last year's asset register, not this year's.
And also
But next year's will be based on this.
before then I'll sit out of the regalia. I don't think that's been properly valued because we have an expensive chain. We have an old, very expensive chain and an even older chain which we don't know the value of. So it seems quite small amount.
You are aware that the old chain that you think is worth a lot of money is just silver gold, and therefore worth, I'm told, a few £100.
Yeah, but it's still something we should probably be looking after.
Yeah, but-
Yeah, but it won't reflect.
No, but the gold ones. And
Yes.
The deputy chairman has a piece of gold as well, don't they? And there's a consort one as well.
Yes, yeah.
So there's a lot more, I think, with the price of gold going up through the roof than that value.
Essentially, that's the value that we've got. I'm guessing it was, yeah, it's been appropriate value.
I think it's gone down. I remember it being higher.
It's gone down.
Councillor Harris.
I may come to regret for a year after this. Why are we valuing land at a pound?
Okay, because the covenant restricts what can be done on it, so for obvious reasons, for instance, I'll give you an example, Broads Banfield is on a long-term lease.
Yeah.
We didn't own it, we don't own, for instance, also, and what we can do with it means its value, as far as you might be concerned, in a more commercial sort of world, would be worth a lot more. We cannot do that because we have under legislation to keep it as a green space. Converting it from green space would have to go through Parliament. Don't rub your hands together like that.
Go on then.
Were you referring to Barley Fort Field or the
Centenary Field.
Yeah, because we do, it was gifted, Princess Anne was gifted to us.
But under covenant position again.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So if that's exhausted the lines of inquiry. So do we have a proposer to accept the asset register? Thank you, Councillor Wadsworth. A seconder? Thank you, Councillor Harris. All those in favour of acceptance of the asset register? Those against?
This is saying,
And one abstention. Thank you very much for calling all.
not sorry. It's only because I don't really have anything to.
Sorry to close, so I'm just simply going to say, because I was doing some quick research here, that actually councils value the land up because it had to be based on historic value and not the current market value. So no more value of a pound because accounting rules for local councils prohibit using market values and instead require simple historic cost-based records.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ainsley. And no doubt, hope
It makes no sense.
There you go.
Lovely.
And after they with it anyhow.
Okay, on then to item number 14, the floral display contract.
Okay. I'll just take this forward. As you know, there were two contractors. Well, one of the contractors visited us earlier. Was it last week? They all fly into one thing. Visited us with the operations manager, went round all of the sites. I then asked for a re-quote to make it like for like, as Councillor Brooks would say. He then sent me an email recently, in fact, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago, which basically said they were pulling out of the tender exercise. They could not this year. They said next year we will look at it more keenly, but this year he felt that he could not commit to giving us a valid quote on the water required. So we were left with window floors. So as I've said before here, it's up to you as a council now. We only have, we've tried to get other people. We are now in a situation where window floors are the only company who have a valid quote. And I can assure you that if we do not, once again, if we do not take this contract now, we will not be in a position to get Florence Blair out of this. So it's impossible.
Councillor Ainsley, go ahead.
Yeah, I am also disappointed that we haven't got 3 quotes, but I recognise fully why the market, why we've only got one. It's because although supplying of the plants is quite good, watering is a specialist service, and there are a lot of companies that do it. And so, in common with a lot of other councils, it's very difficult to get more than one quote. So we really should be counting ourselves lucky that we've got such a good competitive quote from industry concern. And our financial regulations do allow us to have specialist contractors. So.
Well, if memory serves, you tried to get 3
We
quotes.
did,
They came
and
back
it's nothing unusual. That's what
They
I'm
came back
trying
to
to
2, and now we're left with 1 because the other one hasn't.
Yeah, so we are what we are.
So it's not for the sake of us trying to avoid due diligence, it's the fact that no one wants to do it. Councillor Brooks, you agree?
Once I accept that there was an effort to make more than one contract, they weren't like for like, which was an issue.
Can I just interject at this point? The clerk's given a very good example now of the fact that he tried to get a like-for-like quote, and then therefore the second contractor has withdrawn.
I said when we considered it last time, they were not like for like.
Yes.
And I believe at the meeting, I remember yourself, Councillor Harris, and one other councillor were asked to go away and work with the park. And I've asked if that happened because I get the impression it might not have happened. And I don't like this thing of things being left right to the last minute, and we're told if we don't agree it, we don't have it. This is happening far too often. I dug out the minutes on this contract that's just expired, and before I was on the council, a former councillor worked on the same thing because it was left until the last minute, partially to do with another councillor's sickness, but it's very clearly minuted from December 24 that in 2025, this council, if they accept using the same contractor again, that they must go out and get value for money and contracts in 2025. So there's been a whole year. I accept some staff have been off sick, but some of that time was before those issues. So again, it's left right up until the last minute, and it's not really good.
Councillor Brooks, I seem to recall that this was actually brought back in the previous, not the last, but one before it.
Yeah.
This has been on the docket for a number of meetings, and it's
Yeah,
not
but
just
it's
been
not,
major.
but that's at the end, that was the last meeting that it was brought to. But it had a huge gap between December 24, when we knew the contract was coming up, which is wonderful tonight. We talked about something else that said, the insurance must get quotes 3 months in advance. Well, that should have really happened with this. And we always used to have a working group that went out and talked to people. This list that they've quoted on is inaccurate. It names shops that don't exist, shops that don't want things. And that was what I was hoping, that when the councillors were appointed, that they would go out and review that list. Some of the brackets on the walls are rusty. I don't know if they're dangerous, but it's not been reviewed properly for many years. Because the last, I was talking to Councillor Rosworth this afternoon, the last councillor to go knocking on doors to see who wanted it was Councillor Hopkins. Is it Jasmine? And that is like 7 years ago.
Thank you for that, Councillor.
So
we're just
I-
conscious of the time that we're.
Yeah, so I won't be voting for this because,
Okay.
you know, like, it says there's a basket on cancer research. Just one example, cancer research hasn't been there for 2 years. The owner of the hotel doesn't want any,
Okay,
but
well,
we're paying for them to go on there.
thanks. Melanie, go ahead.
Councillor Brooks, I understand what you're saying. The work that we've been doing over the last few weeks, there are a lot of improvements that are underway. There is a lot of diarisation that will be going on. So things like contracts that are coming up for renewal will have a diary marker at least 3 months in advance going forward. That's the work that we're doing. It's not going to happen overnight. And there may be a small occasion in the future where one is missed. But there is a lot of work to
I
align
appreciate- I'm aware
processes
of it.
and to alleviate frustration. So I hope that you will start to see those improvements shortly. But I do ask for patience whilst we get
Oh, yeah,
that
I
work
do be
underway.
patient. I do, but I'm looking at the document this evening, which is out of date, and they've
That's it,
quoted on it.
Councillor Ainsley.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I do feel that in line with what the Melanie is saying, that actually there has been a huge historical deficit in the way things have been done in this country. Strenuous efforts are being made to rectify things, and actually there is huge improvements being made already. I think, and the second thing I want to say is that I would like to thank the director of Window Flowers for taking the time to look at the budget that we had allocated and then reducing his quotation to actually fit within that budget. So I think I'd like to actually express our gratitude for that. Thank you.
So, we have the plans of the moment. Would anyone care to propose that we accept this quotation, go ahead with the contract? Thank you, Councillor Wadsworth. Do we have a seconder? Thank you very much, Councillor Nichols. All those in favour of supporting this contract? Thank you. Those against? Councillor Brooks. That has carried.
Super.
Yes, we have item 15, which is indeed Councillor Ainsley.
Yes, I'd love to.
Would you, sir?
Yes, I'd love to. So essentially, the parking charges that were set up by the RTC and implemented on the 2nd of March this year have met some serious.
Sorry, Councillor Nichols does have.
Sorry, I
Didn't
informed
notify me
them I
earlier.
was,
That's okay.
ready to go at half past, so apologies.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
The traders in town, open businesses, are actually raising an objection letter. Chris, what's her name? Councillor Christine Wise is coming to actually speak to them on the Monday, and I really object to these ill thought out policies, the way I'm thinking of it, in that I'm asking the council to support the traders in their formal objection letter, which I will be presented to Christine Wise on Monday next. Also to support the fact that we should write 2 formal objection letters as set out in Appendix A and B. One to Councillor Wise in her role as the portfolio holder for Transport, Environment and Communities, and secondly to our scrutiny within RTC to look at the parking charge afresh. The issue is simply that the 1 to 3 hour rate, which is the critical time for retailers, is increased by 25%. And additionally, I mean, this is just a pick a few, you can pick it out yourself, the annual season ticket, which traders need to actually park their vehicles when they're actually trading, has gone up significantly as well. And there are other, I've also suggested that we actually meet with RCC to discuss alternative approaches that better support the sustainability of open town centre. It seems that we're just using these increased charges as a simple way of balancing the budget when actually a lot more thought needs to go into actual parking charges within Oakham. I did do a comparison for those that are interested with Stanford, who we have really like extent than our competitors in both UK TOC and, no, I haven't included it, but I did do a comparison. And Stafford has a totally different model, which is called a flat short stay model. We use a step model, which actually means that for up to 3 hours, it's significantly increased where Stafford is lower. And additionally, as I've written here and highlighted, Oakham's jump from £1.50 to £3.70 may discourage the 90 to 150 minute dwell time that traders rely on, which has been observed in Stamford. So I recommend this paper to council.
Yes, I'm quite happy with the appendix that you've included, and
Yeah, let's hope.
In terms of the wording.
We should be supporting our traders, and that's what the letters do.
Councillor Brooks?
I'm all for supporting our traders, but I don't see any point in sending this because it's an annual thing. The council has a right to do it, they own the land, and they do it every year, and every year people mow.
So we should just accept it and not do anything, is that what you're suggesting?
But also the figures that are put before us, you've not taken into consideration that first half hour is free, and that the long stay car parks are actually cheaper. I think that the people who are asking have just given the indication of what they use, because this happened when we paid for the Saturday specials. They all come to work early, park for free, and the residents can't park. That's my opinion of it. They used to park in residential streets nearby until the council put WO lines. So parking's an issue, but it's, to me, Oakham rates are not expensive. You know, if you compare it with places like Leicester and even Melton, you know, you go further up, go to London, you wouldn't get 20 minutes for that fee. You know,
I mean, personally, I beg to differ. I'm not going to quote
parking's
numbers.
expensive
I'm not going to
anyway.
quote numbers.
No.
It's the last time, for instance, I parked at High Cross, I believe it was shorter than a day in Church Street, for instance. So I'm going to respectfully disagree with your assessment.
Depends where
Being
you
a
park
motorist
in
myself.
I park with a friend in the High Cross because it is cheaper
Well, yeah.
than any of the others. But we could argue that, but we won't. But I just wonder whether they're going to take any notice. I'm going to support this, to send it, but I just know that they'll just.
Well, we'll see what happens on Monday, shall we? Once you see in front of the businesses.
So it seems.
Can I propose that we accept it unless?
No, go ahead, Councillor Brooks. That's a good one. Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much. Oh, sorry,
You'll
you're
propose.
I
You'll be seconding
apologise.
it.
I do apologise.
Sorry, I didn't realise you proposed.
What?
Anyway, so Councillor Rains is proposed. Councillor Brooks is seconded. Julie, all those in favour? Those against? And those abstaining? That's Harris. Thank you. Would you like that recorded or? Yeah? Yep, very well. That has carried. Are you happy to, yes?
It will make traders become very interested that she's coming along.
Say my, I'm not coming.
You're not coming.
Yes. Do you want to?
They're in the pack in the soft copies.
So Melanie sent the agenda out and I clicked on it and I thought, oh my God, not another town council meeting because it's got a header on it.
So, item number 16, we're going to have to consider in private. So, I will move at this point that we resolve to exclude press, public, and that we cease recording for this. As the information is classed as exempt in paragraphs 1, 2, and 3, schedule 12A, section 1A of the Local Government Act.